أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Chapter 12 Joseph. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Alif, Lam, Ra. These are the verses of the clear book, the Qur'an, that makes legal and illegal things clear. Indeed, we have sent it down as an Arabic Qur'an in order that you may understand. We relate to you, O Muhammad, the best of stories through our revelations to you by this Qur'an. And before the coming of divine inspiration to you, you were among those who were unaware. Remember when Joseph said to his father, "O my father, indeed I saw in a dream 11 stars, and the sun and the moon bowing down before me." His father said, "O my son, do not relate your vision to your brothers, for fear that they plot against you. Indeed, Satan is to man an open enemy. Thus will your Lord choose you, and teach you the interpretation of dreams and other things, and perfect his favor on you, and on the offspring of Jacob, as he perfected it on your fathers, Abraham and Isaac before you. Indeed, your Lord is all-knowing, all-wise." Indeed, in Joseph and his brothers there are proofs, evidences, and signs for those who seek. When they said, "Truly, Joseph and his brother Benjamin are loved more by our father than we, but we are a strong group. Really, our father is in plain error. Let us kill Joseph, or cast him out to some other land, so that the favor of your father may be given to you alone, and after that you will be righteous folk, by repenting before committing the sin." One from among them said, "Do not kill Joseph, but if you must do something, throw him down to the bottom of a well, so that he will be picked up by some caravan of travelers." They said, "O our father, why do you not trust us with Joseph, when we are indeed his well-wishers? Send him with us tomorrow to enjoy himself and play, and indeed we will take care of him." Jacob said, "Truly it saddens me that you should take him away. I fear in case a wolf should devour him, while you are careless of him." They said, "If a wolf devours him, while we are a strong group to guard him, then surely we are the losers." So when they took him away, they all agreed to throw him down to the bottom of the well, and we inspired to him, "Indeed you shall one day inform them of this affair, when they do not know you." And they came to their father in the early part of the night, weeping. They said, "O our father, we went racing with one another, and left Joseph by our belongings, and a wolf devoured him. But you will never believe us, even when we speak the truth." And they brought his shirt, stained with false blood. He said, "No, but you have made up a tale. So for me, patience is most fitting. And it is Allah alone whose help can be sought against that which you assert." And there came a caravan of travelers. They sent their water drawer, and he let down his bucket into the well. He said, "What good news! Here is a boy." So they hid him as a slave. And Allah was the all-knower of what they did. And they sold him for a low price, a few silver coins. And they were of those who regarded him insignificant. And the man from Egypt, who bought him, said to his wife, "Make his stay comfortable. Maybe he will profit us, or we shall adopt him as a son." Thus did we establish Joseph in the land, that we might teach him the interpretation of events. And Allah has full power and control over his affairs, but most men do not know. And when Joseph attained his full manhood, we gave him wisdom and knowledge. Thus we reward the doers of good. And she, in whose house he was, sought to seduce him to do an evil act. She closed the doors and said, "Come to me." He said, "I seek refuge in Allah. Truly your husband is my master. He has made my stay agreeable, so I will never betray him. Indeed, the wrong and evil doers will never be successful." And indeed she did desire him, and he would have inclined to her desire, had he not seen the evidence of his Lord. Thus it was that we turned him away from evil and illegal sexual intercourse. Surely he was one of our chosen guided slaves. So they raced with one another to the door, and she tore his shirt from the back. they both found her husband at the door. She said, "What is the punishment for him who intended an evil act with your wife, except that he be put in prison or suffer a painful torment?" Joseph said, "It was she that sought to seduce me." And a witness of her household bore witness, saying, "If it be that his shirt is torn from the front, then her tale is true, and he is a liar. But if it be that his shirt is torn from the back, then she has told a lie, and he is speaking the truth." So when her husband saw Joseph's shirt torn at the back, he said, "Surely it is a plot of you women. Indeed, your scheming is formidable. O Joseph, turn away from this, and O woman, ask forgiveness for your sin. Indeed, you are of the sinful." And the women in the city said, "The governor's wife is seeking to seduce her young servant. Indeed, she loves him violently. We see that she has gone astray." So when she heard of their accusation, she sent for them, and prepared a banquet for them. And she gave each one of them a knife to cut the food with. And she said to Joseph, "Come out before them." Then, when they saw him, they admired his beauty, and in their astonishment cut their hands. They said, "How perfect is Allah! This is no man. This is none other than a noble angel." She said, "This is the young man about whom you blamed me for his love, and I did seek to seduce him, but he refused. And now, if he refuses to obey my order, he shall certainly be cast into prison, and will be one of those who are disgraced." He said, "O my lord, prison is more to my liking than that to which they invite me. Unless you turn away their plot from me, I will feel inclined towards them, and be one of those who commit sin and deserve blame, or be of those who join the ranks of the ignorant ones." So his lord answered his invocation, and turned him away from their plot. Indeed, he is the all-hearer, the all-knower. Then they saw to it, despite seeing the clear proofs of his innocence, to imprison him for a time. And there entered with him 2 young men in the prison. One of them said, "Indeed, I saw myself in a dream making wine." The other said, "Indeed, I saw myself in a dream, carrying bread on my head, from which birds were eating." They said, "Inform us of the interpretation of this. Indeed, we think you are one of the doers of good." He said, "If any food is provided to you, I can inform you about it before you receive it. This is of that which my Lord has taught me. Indeed, I have abandoned the religion of a people that do not believe in Allah and are disbelievers in the hereafter. And I have followed the religion of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and never could we attribute any partners whatsoever to Allah. This is from the grace of Allah to us and to mankind, but most men do not give thanks. O 2 companions of the prison, are many different gods better? Or Allah, the one, the irresistible? You do not worship besides him anything but names which you and your fathers have forged, for which Allah has sent down no authority. The command and the judgment is for none but Allah. He has commanded that you worship none but him. That is the true, straight religion, but most men are unaware. O 2 companions of the prison, as for one of you, he will pour out wine for his master to drink, and as for the other, he will be crucified, and birds will eat from his head. This settles the matter about which you have inquired." And he said to the one whom he knew to be saved, "Mention me to your master, so as to get me out of the prison." But Satan made him forget to mention it to his master. So Joseph stayed in prison a few more years. And the king of Egypt said, "Indeed, I saw in a dream 7 fat cows, whom 7 lean ones were devouring, and of 7 green ears of corn, and 7 others dry. O my elders, explain to me my dream, if it be that you can interpret dreams." They said, "These are mixed-up false dreams, and we are not skilled in the interpretation of dreams." Then the man who was released, amongst one of the 2 who were in prison, now finally remembered and said, "I will tell you its interpretation, so send me forth." He said, O Joseph, man of truth, explain to us the dream of 7 fat cows whom 7 lean ones were devouring, and of 7 green ears of corn, and 7 others dry, that I may return to the people, and that they may know. Joseph said, During the next 7 years, from what you cultivate, when the time of harvest comes, leave the grains in their spikes, except for what you eat. Then will come 7 hard years of drought, which will devour what you have stored in advance for them, all except a little of that which you have stored. Then thereafter will come a year in which people will have abundant rains, and in which they will press wine and oil. And the king said, Bring him to me. But when the messenger came to him, Joseph said, Return to your lord, and ask him to investigate the women who cut their hands. Surely my lord, Allah, is well aware of their plot. The king said to the women, What do you know about the incident when you tried to seduce Joseph? The women said, Allah forbid. We did not know of anything evil committed by him. The wife of the governor said, Now the truth is clear to all. It was I who sought to seduce him, and he is surely of the truthful. Then Joseph said, I asked for this inquiry, in order that the governor may know that I did not betray him in secret, and indeed Allah does not guide the schemes of the betrayers. And I do not free myself from the blame. Indeed, the human self is inclined to evil, except when my Lord bestows his mercy upon whom he wills. Indeed, my Lord is oft forgiving, most merciful. And the king said, Bring him to me, that I may employ him to my service. Then, when he spoke to him, he said, Indeed, this day you are with us high in rank, and fully trusted. Joseph said, Set me over the storehouses of the land. I will indeed guard them with full knowledge. We thus established Joseph on the earth, ruling as he wished. We shower our mercy upon whomever we will, and we never fail to recompense the righteous. And indeed, the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believe and fear Allah and keep their duty to him, by abstaining from all kinds of sins and evil deeds, and by performing all kinds of righteous good deeds. And Joseph's brothers came, and when they entered, he recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And when he had supplied them with provisions according to their need, he said, Next time, bring along with you your half-brother. Do you not see that I give full measure, and that I am the best of hosts? If you fail to bring him to me, you will get no share from me. You will not even come close. They said, We shall try to get permission for him from his father, and indeed we shall do it. And Joseph told his servants to put their money with which they had bought the corn back into their bags, so that they might know it when they go back to their people, in order that they might come back sooner. So when they returned to their father, they said, O our father, we shall get no more measure of grain unless we take our brother. So send our brother with us, and we shall get our measure, and truly we will guard him. He said, Can I entrust him to you, as I entrusted his brother Joseph to you before? But Allah is the best protector, and he is the most merciful of those who show mercy. And when they opened their bags, they found their money had been returned to them. They said, O our father, what more can we desire? Our money has been returned to us, so we shall get more food for our family, and we shall guard our brother, and add 1 more measure of a camel's load. This is certainly a profitable deal. Jacob said, I will not send him with you until you swear a solemn oath to me in Allah's name, that you bring him back to me, unless you are utterly overwhelmed. And when they had sworn their solemn oath, he said, Allah is the witness over what we have said. And he said, O my sons, do not enter by one gate, but enter by different gates. And I cannot avail you against Allah at all. Indeed, the decision rests only with Allah. In him I put my trust, and let all those that trust put their trust in him. And when they entered according to their father's advice, it did not avail them in the least against the will of Allah. And Jacob had a personal reason for asking them to do this, for he possessed certain knowledge that we taught him, but most men do not know. And when they went in before Joseph, he took his brother Benjamin closer to himself and said, "Indeed, I am your brother, so do not grieve for what they used to do." So when he had supplied them with their provisions, he put the golden cup into his brother's bag. Then a crier cried, "O you in the caravan, surely you are thieves." They, turning towards them, said, "What is it that you are missing?" They said, "We are missing the golden cup of the king, and for him who produces it is the reward of a camel load. I personally guarantee this." Joseph's brothers said, "By Allah, indeed you know that we have not come to make mischief in the land, and we are not thieves." Joseph's men said, "What then shall be the penalty if you are proved to be liars?" Joseph's brothers said, "The penalty should be that he in whose bag it is found should be held for the punishment of the crime. Thus we punish the guilty." So Joseph began the search in their bags, before the bag of his brother. Then he brought it out of his brother's bag. Thus did we plan for Joseph. He could not take his brother by the king's law as a slave, but that was the will of Allah. So Allah made the brothers bind themselves with their way of punishment to enslave the thief. We raise to degrees whom we please, but over all those endowed with knowledge is the all-knowing Allah. Joseph's brothers said, "If he stole something, so did a brother of his in the past." Joseph concealed his feelings in himself, and did not give them any clue. He said within himself, "You are in the worst case, and Allah knows best the truth of what you assert." They said, "O ruler of the land, indeed he has an old father who will grieve for him, so take one of us in his place. Indeed we see that you are a kind man." He said, "Allah forbid that we should take anyone but him with whom we found our property. Indeed, if we did so, we should be wrongdoers." So when they despaired of him, they held a conference in private. The eldest amongst them said, "Do you not know that your father took an oath from you in Allah's name, and before this you failed in your duty with Joseph? Therefore I will not leave this land until my father permits me, or Allah decides my case by releasing Benjamin, and he is the best of judges. Return to your father and say, 'O our father, indeed your son Benjamin has committed theft, and we do not testify except according to what we know, and we could not know the unseen. And ask the people of the town where we have been, and the caravan in which we returned, and indeed we are telling the truth.'" Jacob said, "No, but you have contrived a story. So quiet patience is most fitting for me. Maybe Allah will bring them all back to me. Truly only He is all-knowing, all-wise." And he turned away from them and said, "How great is my grief for Joseph." And he lost his sight, because of the sorrow that he was suppressing. They said, "By Allah, you will never cease remembering Joseph until you become weak with old age, or until you are dead." He said, "I only complain of my grief and sorrow to Allah, and I know from Allah that which you do not know. O my sons, go and inquire about Joseph and his brother, and never give up hope of Allah's mercy. Certainly, no one despairs of Allah's mercy except the people who disbelieve." Then, when they entered to Joseph, they said, "O ruler of the land, a hard time has hit us and our family, and we have brought poor capital. So pay us full measure, and be charitable to us. Truly Allah does reward the charitable." He said, "Do you know what you did with Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant?" They said, "Are you indeed Joseph?" He said, "I am Joseph, and this is my brother Benjamin. Allah has indeed been gracious to us. Indeed, he who fears Allah with obedience to him, by abstaining from sins and evil deeds, and by performing righteous good deeds, and is patient, then surely Allah does not make the reward of the righteous to be lost." They said, "By Allah, indeed Allah has preferred you above us, and we have certainly been sinners." He said, "There is no blame on you this day. May Allah forgive you, and he is the most merciful of those who show mercy. Go with this shirt of mine, and cast it over the face of my father. He will become clear of sight, and bring all your family to me." And when the caravan departed, their father said, "I do indeed feel the smell of Joseph. If only you did not think me to be a person who has weakness of mind because of old age." They said, "By Allah, you are still in your old confusion." Then when the bearer of glad tidings arrived, he cast the shirt over his face, and he became clear-sighted. He said, "Did I not say to you, I know from Allah that which you know not?" They said, "O our father, ask forgiveness from Allah for our sins. Indeed, we have been sinners." He said, "I will ask my Lord for forgiveness for you. Indeed, He, only He, is the oft-forgiving, the most merciful." Then, when they entered Joseph's quarters, he took his parents closer to himself and said, "Enter Egypt, if Allah wills, in security." And he raised his parents to the throne, and they fell down before him prostrate. And he said, "O my father, this is the interpretation of my dream of old. My Lord has made it come true. He was indeed good to me when he took me out of the prison, and brought you all here out of the Bedouin life, after Satan had sown enmity between my brothers and I. Certainly my Lord is the most courteous and kind to whom he wills. Truly he, only he, is the all-knowing, the all-wise. My Lord, you have indeed bestowed on me sovereignty, and taught me the interpretation of dreams. You are the only creator of the heavens and the earth. You are my protector, helper, supporter, and guardian, in this world and in the hereafter. Cause me to die as a Muslim, one submitting to your will, and join me with the righteous. This is of the news of the unseen which we reveal by inspiration to you, O Muhammad. You were not present with them when they arranged their plan together, and also while they were scheming. And most of mankind will not believe, even if you desire it eagerly. And, O Muhammad, ask no reward of those who deny your prophethood, for the Qur'an is no less than a reminder and advice to men and jinn. And how many a sign in the heavens and the earth do they pass by, because they are averse to them? And most of them do not believe in Allah, but instead they attribute partners to him. Do they then feel secure from the coming against them of the covering veil of the torment of Allah, or of the coming against them of the final hour, all of a sudden while they do not perceive? Say, O Muhammad, this is my way. I invite to the oneness of Allah with clear proofs. I, and whoever follows me, must also invite others to the oneness of Allah with clear proofs. Glorified and exalted be Allah above all that they associate as partners with him. And I am not of the polytheists, pagans, idolaters, and disbelievers in the oneness of Allah, those who worship others along with Allah, or set up rivals or partners to Allah. And we sent not before you as messengers any but men, whom we inspired from among the people of towns. Have they not travelled through the earth, and seen what was the end of those who were before them? And indeed, the home of the hereafter is the best for those who fear Allah, and obey him by abstaining from sins and evil deeds, and by performing righteous good deeds. Do you not then understand? They were reprieved until when the messengers gave up hope, and thought that they were denied by their people, then came to them our help. And whoever we willed were delivered. And our punishment cannot be warded off from the people who are criminals, disobedient to Allah, sinners, disbelievers, and polytheists. Indeed, in their stories there is a lesson for men of understanding. The Qur'an is not a forged statement, but a confirmation of Allah's existing books, the Torah, the Gospel, and the other scriptures of Allah, and a detailed explanation of everything, a guide and a mercy for the people who believe.